Within 2 minutes, we will start, sir.
Okay.
There are so many ELT experts who are joining.
Yeah.
In fact, ELT lovers. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I heartily welcome all of you in the Langlitz online lecture series day 4. At the outset, we, the team of Langlit, need to thank all the participants who have joined with us by logging Zoom application and those who are watching, enjoying, and learning by logging Facebook Live and YouTube channel Langlitz Educators. We have been receiving overwhelming response from all over the globe. We, the team Langlitz, received more than 120 registration in speakers category from all over the world. I assure you, I will try my best to accommodate most of you during this lockdown period. Nationally and internationally acclaimed academicians are going to deliver their speech on their respective topics in the forthcoming days. We are also giving unique certificate by adding all the speakers' photo to all the participants who are joining with us by logging Zoom application, as well as those who have subscribed YouTube channel Langlitz Educators. Very soon you will receive the registration link by email elanglit@gmail.com. So don't forget to subscribe our channel Langlitz Educators. Friends, today we have a well-known ELT expert with us, Dr. M.S. Xavier Pradeep Singh. He teaches English language and literature at St. Joseph College, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. He earned a PhD in English from Madurai Kamaraj University on virtual learning for enhancing learners' proficiency in English. His interest in research lie in English language teaching, technology, integrated language teaching, teacher development, and assessment. He has twice received e-teacher scholarship from RELO, the American Embassy, to do online teaching training courses offered by the University of Oregon, USA. He has participated in the honor South Asia regional training in Dhaka, Bangladesh, with financial support from the British Council India. Further, with the ARMS research grant from the British Council, he has also mentored English language teachers to pursue classroom-based research. He serves and has been serving on the editorial board of many international journals, the Mextesol Journal from Mexico, and I think a journal of teaching English with technology from Poland. He was a reviewer for the Impact Publishing Limited from UK for the publication of the book Workshop in a Box: Communication Skills for IT Professionals. He has served as a resource person for more than 70 programs, conferences, seminars, workshops, faculty development programs, and including nowadays online teaching training programs as well. So we have with us a well-known ELT expert, Dr. M.S. Xavier Pradeep Singh. It's my honor and privilege that he has accepted my invitation to deliver his talk on flipped classroom recipe. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to all of you. I'm happy to deliver this lecture over the Zoom app to all of you during this lockdown period. So my lecture today will be on flipped classroom recipe. Don't get misled by the word recipe here. I'm not going to teach any cookery class. But I deliberately wanted to use the word recipe here because as educator, we prepare. I mean, the process of the pedagogy is more important. It is not just a product. You have to add more ingredients and you need to present it to your students. Your students are consumers. I mean, the people who taste the kind of things that you prepare in the class. So that is why I deliberately use the word recipe here. So our ingredients, the overview of my presentation today, I'll start with what is flipped classroom and then why we have to use flipped classroom and then what roles are flipped in a flipped classroom pedagogy. And then finally the recipe. I will show you a big picture of flipped classroom, what things are involved in flipping a classroom. And then finally I'll end with the challenges that we have in a flipped classroom. So what is flipped classroom? When you hear the word flipped classroom, the word flip is more important there. You flip certain roles or you flip certain processes that happen in a regular classroom, in a traditional classroom. But often people are misled by the word flipped classroom. They think that is something new. Flipped classroom is not new. We already have flipped classroom. Even in our traditional classroom, we have flipped certain lessons. Especially in literature classrooms, we ask students to read novels or lengthy works at home. And then in the classroom, we discuss the themes and techniques used in the novel. This is also an example for flipped classroom. And flipped classroom is not only about technology. Okay, when you say flipped classroom, it doesn't mean that you use technology. Okay, so that's the one thing you have to remember. And often people think we assign videos as homework for students. We prepare video lectures and we assign it to students. So flipped classroom is not only about watching videos as homework. And it is not about teachers creating their own videos for learners to watch it at home. So teachers need not prepare only videos, or they need not prepare. There are several videos and materials available as OE or open educational resources. So you can make use of them, you can adapt them, and you can design your own lesson. You can design the learning process for your students. So that is more important in a flipped classroom. And then flipped classroom is not about students doing activities in the classroom. Okay, there are more other things involved. But often at the surface level, we see in a flipped classroom students watching videos as homework and doing activities in the classroom. But it is not only about that. So flipped classroom is a form of blended learning. So in a flipped classroom, we blend face-to-face teaching and online teaching. Okay, we blend these two interactions. We mix the face-to-face interaction that happens in a classroom, and at the same time, we also include certain online resources or additional resources to make it rich. So flipped classroom is a form of blended learning. There are several forms of blended learning that you must remember. So this is a definition given by the Flipped Learning Network in 2014. There are certain things that you have to notice in this definition. So flipped learning is a pedagogical approach. Remember, it is a pedagogical approach. It is not a technological approach. So you approach, when you flip a classroom, you view it from pedagogical point of view. So that you have to remember. So it is an educational perspective. So what happens in such an educational perspective? We move direct instruction from group learning space. Group learning space is a classroom where you meet your students. So group learning space, from group learning space to individual learning space. That is when students go home, they study individually. So we move direct instruction. That is the instruction given by the teacher in the classroom. We move this from classroom to home, okay, from group learning space to individual learning space. So this happens in a flipped classroom. So as a result of moving this direct instruction from group learning space to individual learning space, the group learning space, I mean the classroom is transformed into a dynamic interactive learning environment. So we move teaching from classroom to home. So what can happen in the classroom? We need to do something else. We can have some activities. What sort of activities? We can have some dynamic interactive activities in the classroom. So students will interact with each other. So you allow students to talk and move around in the classroom. As a result, there happens some interactivity. So the learning can be maximized. Okay, so I'll be reflecting on these concepts a bit elaborately in the later part of my presentation. But according to this definition, you must remember this. So direct instruction is moved from classroom to home. As a result, in the classroom, we do a lot of activities. And in the group learning space, I mean in the classroom, the teacher that I have used, the word they use here is educator. Educator is not an equivalent word to teacher. It is something about teacher. Okay, so an educator is a professional person in the classroom, an expert. So the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. So in a traditional classroom, we only teach concepts. We only help students to remember and understand concepts. But in a flipped classroom, we go beyond that. We help students to apply concepts and engage creatively. We allow them to create some artifacts in the classroom. As a result, the learning gets maximized and the students also learn more from you in the classroom, more from you and from their peers. And you as the educator also learns from the students. So this is the usual picture shared in the internet about flipped classroom. Okay, it is only a surface level picture. Please remember, this does not clearly explain what a flipped classroom is. It only explains the process. So before coming to a classroom, out of the class, that is at their home, students prepare to participate in the classroom activities by watching videos or attending some quizzes. And then in the classroom, students students practice applying concepts with feedback from the teacher. So they do some activity. They maybe they might be, if you are teaching them about the principles of writing essays. So in the classroom, they'll write essays as a group or as pair. So you will give feedback as they do the activity, and then students apply the concepts that they have learned at their home by watching videos. And after the classroom, they also check their understanding. They think about the feedback they have received in the classroom from the teacher. So this is the surface level picture of flipped classroom, usually shared on the internet. But I'm going to dwell deep into flipped classroom. I'm going to share. I'm going to give you more ideas about flipped classroom, or I would share a big picture of flipped classroom. That is more important than this picture. So I want you to watch a video. If you are not able to hear the audio, then I'll explain as the video plays. Are you able to hear the audio?
No, sir.
Okay. So in the video, they say, usually in the classroom, the teacher speaks, the teacher gives lectures in the classroom and students listen and do their homework at home. But in a flipped classroom, we change everything. Teacher, teacher can share videos and activities and other things. So in the classroom, you may not have sufficient time to discuss all those things. So when you flip a classroom, you give video lectures as homework, okay, as homework or the work that has to be done at home. So students watch videos at home, do activities in the classroom.
You also produce a video of your own in which you show some photographs.
Now we can listen audio, sir.
And talk about their origins. You want to keep each video interesting, so you keep them under 10 minutes each. To help trigger discussion, you also include some questions that you will be asking students to talk about in this class session. Later in the semester, students can go back to these videos to review key concepts to prepare for an exam or to guide a project or paper. Short videos are just one option. Audio podcasts, VoiceThread, and many types of interactive media can be used as well. The main idea is to capture your presence, thoughts, and guidance that would normally take place in a classroom setting. Now that the lecture is done outside the classroom, what do your students do when they get together? You can have students bring their laptops to class, work in groups, and research one of the other invasive species that you discussed in your video. Where did they come from? What impact are they having? What is being done to control them? Since they're doing this research during class time, they can get your assistance in determining good sources of information and how to interpret what they're seeing. Also, you'll get a better idea of which students are doing their fair share of work in their groups. There won't be any more excuses that students don't have time to get together for group work. If an interesting idea comes from one group, you can get the attention of the class and have a spontaneous discussion. In short, you can create a much more active environment. There are many other activities you can do in the classroom. Have students discuss course concepts or take different sides of an issue and debate their merits. Students could share drafts of papers that they're writing and get feedback from you and other students. Students can work on difficult problem sets, share solutions, and ask for help when they get stuck. Organize students into groups and have them answer questions about a case study, or they could write and practice a presentation about a topic of your choosing. There are ways of using class time for activities involving any discipline. The important thing is to get students to engage with the content of your course. Flipping your classroom involves some serious thinking about the way you are teaching and the way students learn, so you may want to start with a single topic or week and see how it goes. The results may surprise you. This has been Flipping the Classroom Simply Speaking. To get more information about this topic, visit tlt.
So, as you watched in the video, they talk about teaching different subjects, especially science and other things. But if we apply this the methodology to English language teaching, it can benefit a lot, both the teacher and the student. I'm going to explain what you watched in the video. Again, in the video, it was only a surface level picture. Okay, we need to go deeper into flipped classroom. So, flipped classroom is not only about technology, but also about student engagement, or it is more about student engagement, how you engage students in the classroom and at their home. This is very important in flipped classroom. So there are four important pillars in flipped learning, flipped classroom, FLIP. They can be expanded into flipped environment, flexible environment, learning culture, intentional content, and then professional educators. So these four are very important in a flipped classroom pedagogy. So what is flexible environment? So in a traditional classroom, we engage with only one learning mode. Often the teacher talks, so only the auditory learners get benefited. Sometimes the teacher writes on the board, only at that time the visual learners get benefited. But in a flipped classroom, since we move lecture out of classroom, you get a lot of opportunity to provide different learning modes. You can provide visual learning, and your students, your auditory learners may get benefited, and you can also have some activities. So as a result, kinesthetic learners, hands-on, you give hands-on experience. As a result, they get kinesthetic experience. So you address different learning modes in a flipped classroom. And at the same time, since you do a lot of activities in the classroom, the learning space, I mean the classroom is changed a lot. Okay, so you can arrange your classroom in different ways. You may have pair work or individual study or group work. In such cases, the way benches and tables have been arranged in the classroom will have to be changed. Okay, and there won't be any need for one blackboard. Maybe if you have group work, you may need separate blackboards or whiteboards for your students, so they can present whatever they have discussed and prepared on the blackboard or on the whiteboard. And in the same way, the timetable that we have for our college and school will also get changed. Since you are going to do activity, maybe the entire day you will concentrate on one subject. So it has to be flexible. You cannot have a rigid timetable in a flipped classroom. So the timetable has to be flexible. And the second pillar, learning culture. So when you flip a classroom, if you look at a traditional classroom, the teacher is the primary source of learning there. So the teacher is the holder of all knowledge. Only through the teacher, students can learn. Okay, only when the teacher teaches something, students will think that that has been taught and that they can learn it. But in a flipped classroom, this gets changed. So a flipped classroom is a learner-centered approach, and the classroom time is dedicated for creating rich learning experience by doing some hands-on activities. So as a result, students actively involve in creating knowledge. Okay, students, they actively involve in constructing knowledge together. As a group, they construct knowledge in a flipped classroom. This is very important to create a rich experience, rich learning experience. And they also find this kind of learning experience meaningful to them. When they discuss in a group, they find it meaningful. They learn from their peers, and they also teach others. So this is very important. And the third pillar, intentional content. So in a flipped classroom, the teacher clearly plans the content. Okay, the teacher intentionally plans the content, what video or what material has to be shared to the student, and what will they do after using that material, or after reading or watching the material, what students will do. Will they attend a quiz, or will they create a survey and collect responses? The teacher has to plan everything clearly. So in a flipped classroom, the content is well planned and intentionally designed. Okay, so only then you can have a student-centered active learning in the classroom. And teacher can also decide what material they will teach and what material students will explore. So you decide it here in a flipped classroom. And the fourth element in flipped classroom is professional educator. Professionalism doesn't come by age. Just because you are aged, or just because you have worked for so many years, you may not become professional. Professionalism comes with reflection. When you reflect on your own practice in the classroom, you become an expert. Okay, so in a flipped classroom, professional educator is a key element. Technology cannot replace teacher. Okay, so professionalism is very important for an educator. So a professional educator systematically develops material and plans activities and systematically observes students and give feedback. Okay, this is the role of a professional educator in a classroom. And in a flipped classroom, the role of the educator will be a less prominent role. The teacher may not be visible in the classroom. If the teacher is not visible in the classroom, I'm not literally meaning that. The teacher is available there, but the teacher's role is less prominent. That means the students are actively engaged in the process, learning process. When the teacher's role becomes less visible, that means the teacher has succeeded in his mission. So the professional educator is a key ingredient in a flipped classroom. And why we have to flip classroom? What are the benefits we have when you flip the classroom? Number one, we encourage deeper learning. When you flip your classroom, you don't lecture in the classroom. The teacher talk time is reduced. Okay, and student talk time is increased in the classroom. As a result, a lot of interactivity will happen. Of course, you will also have a lot of noise in the classroom. Okay, noise is good in the classroom. Often we think a silent classroom is the best classroom. It is not like that. When your students talk with each other and interact, they learn a lot. As a result, you encourage deeper learning in the classroom. They don't just read, memorize what is there in the textbook. And then the second part is, since you're encouraging your students to participate, or since your students take active responsibility for their learning, they take part in the learning process actively. Okay, so they take responsibility for their learning and they become an active participant in the learning process. And when you flip a classroom, you also encourage interaction and peer learning. So students don't have to depend only on you, the teacher. Students can learn from their peers. And students will get more feedback from their peers, from their group mates, and from you. So feedback is more important for learning. when they get a lot of feedback, especially the qualitative feedback. In a traditional classroom, the only kind of feedback students often get is scores, the marks that they get in the examination. They don't get much qualitative feedback in a traditional classroom. But in a flipped classroom, when students talk with each other, they may be able to get non-verbal feedback as well as verbal feedback from students and from teachers. So this is very important. And students take responsibility for their own learning. As a result, they develop higher order thinking skills. You must be familiar with Bloom's taxonomy. I'll be explaining it. In Bloom's taxonomy, you have two sets of skills: higher order thinking skill and lower order thinking skill. So Bloom has classified thinking into 6 different categories. The lowest level is remembering, and then understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Recently, Bloom's taxonomy has become very popular in educational context. So in a traditional classroom, when the teacher gives lecture, students only remember certain facts from the lecture and understand. Only the lower order thinking skill happens in a traditional classroom. Whereas we assign homework in a traditional classroom. So when they go back to their home, they apply the concepts they heard in the classroom, they listen to in the classroom, and they analyze. And evaluating and creating doesn't happen often. Okay, only in the examination hall they create something. So, so in a traditional classroom, only the lower order thinking skill happens. But when you flip the classroom, the entire process changes as a result. In the classroom, we'll start from the out of the classroom. So out of the classroom, when they listen to video lectures at their home, the lower order thinking skill happens at their home. They remember, understand facts from the videos. So that happens in their home. Whereas the higher order thinking skill can be developed in the classroom when they do some hands-on experience, where they apply concepts that they listen to the video, and they can analyze as a team in the classroom. They can create some artifacts in the classroom. So higher order thinking skill can be groomed and nurtured in the classroom when you flip your classes. And there are several things that changes in the flipped classroom. The role of teacher also changes. In a traditional classroom, often the teacher would stand nearer to the blackboard and would give lectures. Okay, so the teacher plays the role of the sage on the stage. Whereas in a flipped classroom, there is no need for standing near to the blackboard always. So the teacher can move around. The teacher can sit with one group of students and talk to them and give feedback or observe those students. And the teacher can go to the next team and observe them. So the teacher's role will change in a flipped classroom as guide on this side. So the teacher moves to the side of students and guide them. And students' role also changes in the classroom, in a flipped classroom. In a traditional classroom, students are passive recipient of knowledge. Students have to be silent during the lecture, and they have to look at only the teacher and the blackboard, and they have to take notes. So they are passive. Whereas in a flipped classroom, students become active constructors of knowledge. Together, they create knowledge. All of them will know certain things. So they will share whatever they know, and together they create knowledge. So they become active constructors in a flipped classroom. So this picture I already showed you. Please remember this. This is only a surface level understanding of flipped classroom. Now we are going to get deeper into flipped classroom. I'm going to explain the big picture of flipped classroom. So this is the big picture of flipped classroom. I have adapted this idea from Dr. Jackie Gerstein. In a research article, she has explained this big picture of flipped classroom. So in a big picture of flipped classroom, of course, again, here you have some activities out of the classroom and the remaining activities that happen in the classroom. I have mentioned those things there. There are 4 stages in a flipped classroom. students from the point of view of students. So students first experience and then they understand the concept, they reflect on the concept in the third stage, and at the fourth level, at the final level, they demonstrate what they have learned or they demonstrate what they have understood. So I repeat again, students first experience a concept in society or in their classroom, and then they try to understand the concept by watching videos or reading materials, and then they reflect by discussing in a forum or group chat or taking a quiz or preparing a reflective podcast. Finally, they demonstrate their knowledge. But in a traditional classroom, demonstration can happen only in the examination. Okay, only in the examination they demonstrate their knowledge. But in a flipped classroom, there are several other ways of demonstrating knowledge that can be accommodated here. So that's a specialty of flipped classroom. So I'll explain the stages one by one. So we'll move on to the first level. So in the first level of flipped classroom, students experience. So this is our ultimate aim in the first stage. Students must experience the concept that they are going to learn in the lesson. So most often in the stage, they'll have only the experiential engagement. Only the experiential engagement will happen in the first stage. And this is created by the teacher. The teacher carefully plan what has to happen in the first level. So the teacher creates some activities and then the teacher assigns it to the students. It can happen in the classroom or out of the classroom. It depends. It depends on the activity. So some examples of the activities that you can do in the first level is you can assign some games. So students will play some games and they'll experience a concept. Or you can have some simulation, especially in the science classes, simulations will help a lot. And you can have some interactivities. So students will do some activity, and as they do activity, they'll get more feedback or they'll get further content. Our students can do some surveys or case studies, documentaries or interview, and then they'll try to understand that particular concept that they are going to learn further in the lesson. So they can, it is surveys, case studies, documentaries, interviews are student-led activities. Or they can even do some lab experiment or social experiment. In arts subject, they can do social experiment. In the society, they can go, you might have watched a lot of videos on Facebook and YouTube regarding social experiments. People go in streets and they talk with people and they try to understand the attitude of people. So that is a kind of social experiment. That also you can give social experiment to your students. Or they can do community projects or some art activities. These are some of the things that you can that your students can do during the first phase of flipped classroom to experience the concept that they are going to learn. And in the second level, now they have to understand, they have already experienced something. Now they have to understand the concept clearly. Here again, here at this level, students will explore the content, and this particular level, the content that you are going to provide in this level will be designed by the teacher, created by the teacher, or it can even be curated by the teacher. Sometimes the video lecture, it is not necessary for the teacher to prepare the video lecture always. The teacher can also borrow or adapt some videos that are already available in the internet. So in the second level, the teacher can use the activities like video lectures or podcasts or audio files. You can create a radio channel like thing in the internet, and you can regularly post audio files that your students can listen. And you can also share content-rich websites. Okay, so say for example, if they are learning something related to science, you can share some pages from a National Geographic Channel's website or the NASA's website. You can share such websites. So content-rich website. In websites, you'll have videos, pictures, text, or sometimes even the 3D images will be there in a website. So such websites have to be shared with your students so they explore the content there. Or You can even share 3D models. Say, for example, if you are teaching Shakespearean theater, there are 360-degree videos or 3D models available in the internet. So you can show those 3D models to your students. Your students can explore. I mean, your students can visit Shakespearean theater using that 3D model. So they will be able to understand different parts in the Shakespearean theater. Or you can even use infographics, memes, several other things in the classroom. Infographics are becoming very popular. It is a blend of information plus graphics. Okay, you will have pictures as well as text to explain difficult data. So that is infographics. Or you can even share e-books to your students. So your students will explore these kinds of contents in the second phase of flipped classroom to understand the concept. I just want to emphasize here, this level will also be created and designed by the teacher. It often happens outside the classroom. So your students need not watch video lectures in the classroom. They will watch outside the classroom. All of them have got smartphones. Of course, the connectivity problem is there. I will talk about it when I explain the challenges in flipped classroom. So your students using their mobile phone, tablet, or computer, they can watch these things. And you need not always assign video lectures. It can even be a printed book. They can read the printed book, they can get some content. Just to add some interactivity, we use internet resources here. And the third level of flipped classroom, your students will reflect. That is your ultimate aim. As an educator, you must enable your students to reflect on what they experienced and what they understood by exploring the content. So in order for them to reflect, or in order for you to understand what they have reflect, we have some activities. And at this level, all the content will be generated by the students, learner generated content. And this often happens out of the classroom. You can create a discussion forum in WhatsApp or Telegram or Google Groups. There are several e-tools, web tools available in the internet. You can use any of them. Even you can have Twitter chat or Facebook groups. There your students will reflect on what they understood by exploring the content and what they experienced in the first level. They will try to connect their experience with the content. Okay, so this is very important. Or in Microsoft Office PowerPoint, in the latest version, you have narration tools. So you have a slide. As you show the slide, you can talk, record your voice, and post it there. That kind of assignment can also your students do. So picture with audio. So they'll show some picture or some text, and they'll talk. That kind of reflection also can happen. So reflective tools for reflections are very important here. Or you can create some test or quiz where you open-ended questions. In the quiz, you will have a lot of open-ended questions to help your students think. So the kind of answers that your students provide is learner generated, where in those answers they'll reflect on what they understood. Or they can even produce podcast, reflective podcast or reflective vodcast. Vodcast is video cast. They can even create videos. Our students are very comfortable with videos now. So you can allow them to take a video and share it with you as an assignment. So they can have their own channel in YouTube. There they will, in each of those videos, they would have reflected on what they learned in the classroom. And finally, they can blog or they can microblog. Microblogging is short, it is a collection of short text. For example, you can have Twitter or you can have Facebook posts where your students will reflect in brief format. They'll post very brief descriptions of what they have learned in the classroom. So you can allow them to blog or microblog. So these reflective tools, these tools for reflection will help them to go further in the learning process. After reflecting, they will move on to the fourth level, demonstrating. The fourth level is demonstrating. Again, this is also learner generated, and it can happen only in the classroom, because when they demonstrate their knowledge, they share their knowledge with their classmates. They need an immediate audience, okay, the live audience. They need people in front of them to listen and to give feedback. So this is very important. So now we have come to the shared learning space, that is classroom. So in a classroom, they can make presentation. It could be a group presentation or individual presentation, or you can have panel discussion. So you may have four different groups in your classroom who have explored on four different themes, and you can choose one person from each team and you can form a panel, and the panel will discuss what they have learned in due course of time. So you can have a panel discussion, or you can even demonstrate. You can have student demonstration. Students can demonstrate some software, or they might have prepared some infographics. They can explain it in the classroom. Yeah, or they can have some performance in the classroom. If you have assigned some specific scenes from particular place that is in your syllabus to each group, your students can perform in the classroom. Okay, or if it is poetry, they can recite in the classroom, or they can compose it as a song, they can sing it in the classroom. This is how they demonstrate. And the final one is prototype of artifacts. Artifacts of our products. So after experiencing, understanding, and reflecting, they will come up with a product. Okay, this is where even the Indian government, almost all governments are emphasizing students to go, students to adapt a design thinking process. In design thinking process, they will come up with a product. It is a so in order to create a product, they need a lot of feedback. It has got different stages in design thinking. So starting from defining the problem and preparing a prototype and play testing it and finally producing the product. So in a classroom, your students can come up with prototypes made of papers. For example, if it is Shakespearean theatre, they can create a Shakespearean theatre in papers, or even they can draw it in the chart and they can explain it in the classroom. That can even be considered as a prototype. So in the fourth stage, all the content will be learner generated, and this has to happen only in the classroom. Now you imagine when your students present or do panel discussion or demonstration, what will be the role of the teacher? The teacher may not have to talk in the classroom. Okay, so the teacher will play a less prominent role in a flipped classroom, but the teacher also plays a crucial role, because the teacher has to silently observe and give lot of feedback to their students as they demonstrate their learning. So this big picture is very important in a flipped classroom. We always remember only the surface level understanding of flipped classroom. Okay, but we have to go deeper into flipped classroom. We must remember this four stages or this big picture of flipped classroom pedagogy. So in the first level, your students experience, and then in the second level, your students understand, and the fourth level, they reflect on what they experienced and understood, and the fourth level, they demonstrate what they have learned in the learning process. In order to complete one cycle of this process, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so you cannot teach one lesson in 1 hour. If you follow this model, it will take at least a week, but the learning will last long. That is more important. Your students get engaged with the content for a long time. As a result, since they have experienced it in real life, they will be able to remember it in their life for a long time. And they'll also be able to come up with new ideas because they have different options to demonstrate their knowledge. And in flipped classroom, in order to have a smooth process in the flipped classroom, we can implement technology. When you implement technology, you must remember certain things. Technology does not make your teaching better or worse, simple or complex. You remember this. Technology does not do any magic in your classroom. It is the teacher who does the magic in the classroom. So technology can, as the magic wand works in the hands of a magician, technology can work only in the hands of professional educator. So when you use technology, use it in a meaningful way. Okay, so when you use technology, it changes everything in your classroom. Say, for example, if you allow your students to use mobile phone in the classroom for some learning activity, they may not always look at you. Okay, so you will have doubts whether your students are paying attention to you or not. Okay, so such things can happen in the classroom. So technology changes everything: the framework, the models, curriculum model, or the training, the instructional design, lesson design, how you conduct the assignments, or how you give feedback to your students, or classroom management, or how the classroom has been assigned. I mean arranged. The design of your entire school or college will change when you use technology. When when you fix a projector in your classroom, automatically a lot of things changes in the classroom. You can consider this as an example. When you fix a projector, you need a whiteboard, and then you need some space in front of your classroom, and in the same way, if you have some more digital gadgets in your classroom, say for example, if all your students are allowed to bring mobile phone or laptop or tablet, then you need charging stations. You also need to have some policies when they can charge their mobile phone or their devices. So such thing will also happen when you use technology in the classroom. And in the 21st century, this is by Alvin Toffler. He says the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. So this is not literacy in the 21st century. Reading, writing, and arithmetics are not the only literacy skills in the 21st century. In the 21st century, the literacy is those, if you will consider a person illiterate, if they cannot learn, unlearn, or relearn. The key thing that you have to understand from this quotation is lifelong learning skills are very important in 21st century, and flipped classroom will definitely enable your students to develop lifelong learning skills. And even in the planning, in the report of Planning Commission of India, in their 12th five-year plan, in the third volume, they say all institutions must equip their graduates with core skills of critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. These 4 C's are very important. Okay. Only when your students develop these 4 C's, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity, they will be able to innovate, or they will be able to adapt to new environments. So this is very important. This is a key takeaway from this quote. And now I want to look at the challenges in flipped classroom. Of course, there are a lot of challenges in flipped classroom. It is not easy to implement flipped classroom in the current scenario. It requires more training, or it requires a lot of things to change in the classroom. The first challenge is when you use a lot of technology in flipped classroom, your students will have more screen time. This might affect their health. So you need some more training or some more policies, like when they can use their phones and when they can use their books. You need to have some policies like that. Otherwise, it might affect their screen time. So this is one of the biggest challenges in flipped classroom pedagogy. And more homework. Of course, we move homework and activities into the classroom in flipped classroom, but the kind of materials that we assign them for watching at home will become a homework now. If one teacher assigns, say for example, in a college, in a semester, at least 4 or 5 subjects a student will have in a semester. If each teacher assigns such video every day, then the workload will increase. Then we need to have a different plan in the timetable of our college, or how our students study a paper in a semester. So the load of homework is a challenge in flipped classroom. And the next one is digital divide. Though we have 5G and more developed internet technology in every country, even in India, we cannot deny that digital divide still exists. Students may not have proper internet connectivity in certain parts of the country. So that is a challenge. because if you assign a video lecture, student may not have device, or the device may not support the activities that you assign them, or they may not have internet connectivity in their home. So these are some of the challenges in flipped classroom. And again, if you create as educator, if you create videos in an unimaginative way, if it is not in a creative way, if it is not in an innovative way, when students watch videos, again they will become passive learners. So I would suggest, when you prepare video contents, try to keep it to 2 minutes or 1 minute, 1 minute, or even three, not beyond 3 minutes. Okay, your video should not go beyond 3 minutes. Break a big concept into different parts, and you can explain in each of those videos for 3 minutes. You can explain only one idea, and then in the next video you can develop that idea further. So that would help a lot. And after watching every video, students can do some activity, so that will make them active. And the last part is demand for contents and commercialization. It is true that not all teachers are equipped to develop e-contents in India. Even video contents, though we have mobile phone and free video recording softwares and free video editing softwares, we are all not skilled to develop interactive video contents. As a result, there are several commercial companies who are preparing video contents for teachers, and they sell it. So commercialization can happen because of the demand for video contents. So commercialization can happen because of the demand for video contents in the classroom, in a flipped classroom. So these are some of the challenges that we have to overcome. And as I told you earlier, flipped classroom requires a lot of training. You cannot implement it just in one day. It requires more energy from the teacher. Okay, so we need to remember all these things. So in today's presentation, I started with what is flipped classroom, and then I explained why we have to flip the classroom. I also suggested how the different roles are getting flipped in a flipped classroom pedagogy. And then I finally elaborated on the big picture of flipped classroom. I ended with the challenges that are in flipped classroom. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll be glad to answer you.
Sir, there are a few questions.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm able to see.
Okay.
What is your opinion about learning by media used as tool for sustainable development in multilingual country? Will you agree with this?
I think
this is a huge challenge.
Yes.
It is a very difficult question. It is a huge challenge in a country like India. We speak, even though the states have been divided according to the language spoken by majority of the people, we still have multilingual communities in every state. So it is a big challenge in a flipped classroom. So in order to overcome this challenge, maybe you can avoid preparing videos. You can try to include subtitles. Okay, artificial intelligence is helping to support this, artificial intelligence is addressing this problem. It has got automatic translation. Okay, you can have automatic translation tools. And so when you talk in English, your students might be able to hear in their own language. That option is being developed by big companies like Google, Microsoft. They are working with artificial intelligence. So there are challenges. There are challenges in every pedagogy, and this is a huge challenge. And it is not possible to implement in colleges situated in rural and semi-urban area. Of course, that is what I told you, that it is in flipped classroom, we have the challenge of digital divide. Of course, it is a big challenge in rural areas, but you cannot say that it is impossible to implement. To some extent, you can try. If not technology, you can just flip your classroom with just books. You can assign certain books or text materials as homework. Your students will read those materials and come to class to do activities. Without even technology, you can flip the classroom. Okay, in order to conduct a survey, it is not always essential to have a Google form or the survey monkey. You can even conduct a survey using a paper, pen and paper. So it is possible without even implementing technology. And how can we implement this classroom to our Indian education system? That's what I told you. A lot of things have to change when you implement such a thing in India. Well, it is not a single problem. It is a web of complex problems. When you implement a flipped classroom, you need to solve several problems. Problems related to technology, problems related to classroom design, problem related to the content. We are always preoccupied with covering the syllabus. Okay, we are covering the syllabus, but we have to uncover the syllabus. We have to teach the content. It is not always completing the portion. We are an exam driven society. So a lot of things have to change. As I told you, we need to do away with written examinations. We have to have different ways of demonstrating knowledge. If a student can prepare a video documentary, that means he has learned in that semester. So several things have to change in order to successfully implement this method in the classroom. How can we improve vocabulary of the vernacular background students by using the flipped classroom? When I explained the method, I did not I did not apply to any specific teaching domain like teaching listening or teaching reading. It depends on the teacher. The teacher has to be creative enough to develop activities for students to experience. So in the first level, if you are going to teach vocabulary in the first level, ask your students to take photograph or take a note of the words that they see in the society. Maybe in a shop or in an advertisement, what kind of words they see. Let them pick out those words and come to the classroom. And in the classroom, you can have some discussion of the words that are frequently used in the real society. And afterwards, you can teach those words, how those words are used in the classroom. As an activity, you can have such thing. And finally, they can demonstrate it as a presentation. They themselves can prepare an advertisement using the words that they learned in the classroom. And is it possible to implement in large classroom situations in India? Definitely, it is a big challenge. When you have a large classroom, it is very difficult. But with the use of technology, to some extent, it is possible to give feedback. For example, in our college, we have around 70 students. We usually teach 70 students. We don't go for complete online resources. Of course, we blend certain things in the classroom. But during this lockdown period, I am offering an online course with one of my colleagues. The entire course is completely online. We have around 250 students. It is a large classroom, definitely. And it is a 2-week course. We have a lot of activities, quizzes and puzzles, writing activities, vocabulary activities. And after every activity, we have to give feedback. There are only 2 of us teaching the course. We have 250 students. Every week, they complete almost 10 activities. But with the use of technology, it is very easy to give feedback. We have a rubric. We just click on the criteria that the students have fulfilled, and the students get some feedback. Okay, or you can even implement a peer assessment. So there are several innovative ways to solve the large classroom problem. Of course, large classroom is a problem. That is why I said professional educator is a key element in flipped classroom. If you are well equipped, then you can certainly solve this problem. Why can't understanding come before experience? When you experience first, it will be a puzzle to you. You kindle the curiosity. You kindle the curiosity of your students, then they will want to know why this thing happens in the society. When they get curiosity, they'll try to understand it. Okay, so if you bring the level of understanding to, if you help your students to understand the problem first and then experience it later, they may not be able to, they may not have that kind of curiosity to understand it better. So that is why experience first and then understand the thing later. Smart classroom is not everywhere in all institutions, so please give some suggestion for using mobile phones as tool in teaching process. Of course, in 21st century, you don't need smart classroom and interactive whiteboard. There are a lot of tools that will help you to present it even without a projector. Most of your students will have mobile phones. You have a tool called Nearpod, Nearpod, Nearpod. With that tool, you can project your screen to your student's mobile phone without even having an LCD projector in your classroom. Okay, so if not all your students have for smartphones, then you can make them into groups, and you see to that each group has got one mobile phone at least, and then you can teach it like that. So you be creative to solve these problems. And
Dear
remember,
friend, dear friend, there is one question by the senior professor Ajit Jatak sir. How can students' distraction be controlled in a flipped classroom?
yeah. And in order to understand this question, you must reflect on what you consider as distraction in the classroom. Okay, what is distraction? Say, for example, in a traditional classroom, when a teacher gives lecture, if a student talk to another student, that is a distraction. But in a flipped classroom, students have to interact with each other. So it is possible to even go beyond the script. They might even talk about their personal things in the discussion. So I don't think that is a kind of a distraction. When we teachers attend some conferences, we use mobile phone. We chat, we send messages when we listen to somebody else. So can we consider that as a distraction? So what do we consider as distraction? If only we answer this question, we may be able to find a solution to solve this problem. You
Okay,
cannot expect your students to concentrate only on the task all the time.
well said. There is another question by University Professor, Mumbai University Professor Sachin Labde. What preconditions in terms of technical requirements and technical and non-technical skills need to be in place both from educator and learner's point of view? What preconditions need to be in place both from educators and learners point of view that we need to follow?
Yeah, it, in order to answer this question, I need to explain a lot of things. Like
Okay.
students first must know how to, students as well as teachers, they must know how to connect their gadgets with other gadgets. For example, without even having a wire, how do you connect your laptop with a projector? Or how do you share certain files from your mobile to others' mobile? Yes, there are certain basic things. Maslow's hierarchy of need can be applied here. Okay, so you need a lot of training. That's what I said when I was discussing about the challenge. It cannot happen all of a sudden. Flipped classroom cannot happen all of a sudden. Again, as you implement a flipped classroom, you will first experience, and then you will understand. You will reflect on what is happening in the classroom. Finally, you will demonstrate your expertise. So it happens due course of time. Okay, so I cannot give any specific list of technological skills that has to be developed at the moment. It depends on situations. We have got varied situation in India, so it depends on the teacher and depends on the classroom conditions.
Okay. Thank you, dear Dr. Xavier Pradeep Singh, sir, for
Yes,
your
sir.
thought-provoking, motivating, and quite informative talk. I
Thank you.
must say proudly that your recipe was very, very delicious. It was a ELT feast for us.
Thank you,
And
sir.
thank you very much, friends, academicians, for joining with us. See you tomorrow. Stay at home. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.